Hello everyone, this is Warhawk Beyond 2040 and welcome to another edition of the Flash Season 7 review series, and today I am going to be talking about Episode 2, The Speed of Thought, which I have just finished watching, and this was, in my opinion, a fantastic follow-up to the season premiere of the show, and this episode was pretty much dealing with the aftermath of Nash Wells sacrificing himself so that Barry Allen could regain his speed through the artificial speed force, and Barry Allen in this episode also gained a new power, Speed Force, which basically allows Barry Allen to be super smart and able to think faster than a normal human being. But something also happens to Barry in this episode. The more smarter he gets, the more and more cold and lack of emotion he displays, something that we haven't seen from the Thinker back in season 4 of The Flash, and I thought the way Grant Gustin was able to be very cold but at the same time very smart was very well done in my opinion. And we also see that Team Flash learn that Eva McCulloch is not who she says she is. They learn that she is a mirror duplicate and they expose her in a very unique way, something that I didn't think was going to happen in this episode. I thought maybe it would happen maybe like episode 3 or 4, but they didn't waste any time getting straight into the action, and I thought this was an excellent episode and a very fitting tribute to all of the Welleses who basically died through Nash Wells. So let's get right into it. Let's not waste any more time. Let's talk about episode 2, The Speed of Thought. So this episode starts off with a montage tribute to all of the Wells who have died throughout all of the seasons, because as we all remembered in the last episode, Nash Wells sacrificed himself so that Barry Allen could get his speed back. So we see Team Flash is mourning all of the Welleses and puts Nash's pack on display as part of a memorial with tributes to everybody they've lost, setting the tone for things as the team mourns yet another devastating loss. However, there isn't much time for sadness as we learn that Cisco has returned with Atlantean technology to rescue everyone from the Mirrorverse. But there are some challenges. One of those challenges is quickly dealt with when we see Allegra sees a message pop up from Iris to Camilla and David, a message from within the Mirrorverse. Now, as we remember in the last episode, Iris sent an email through the Mirrorverse, so there's a question of whether that message will get through to the real world, but it looks like it was successful. We then see Barry start exhibiting a new power with speed thinking, and it lets him not only solve issues of how to open a portal to the Mirrorverse, but how to get things they need to do so. It turns out Eva has photons still in her body that will let them get Iris, Camilla and Sing back. The Flash and Cisco head to Eva's next black hole target to get those photons with an assist from Frost, but when Barry lets Frost get hurt in order to further the mission, Cisco realises that something is not quite what it seems. We then see Barry's speed thinking continue, and he figures out that Eva is a duplicate and improves it by accessing the video of McCulloch of the real Eva dying during the particle accelerator blowing up, and he exposes her by broadcasting the footage live on the talk show that she's appearing on. Barry, with no emotion, says it was the most efficient distraction. The longer Barry continues with his new powers, the less human he becomes, and he starts to act more and more like the Thinker. Barry figures out that he can't save everyone and runs a simulation to realise that he would be outvoted in saving Iris over Camilla and Sing, so he decides to do it on his own without informing the rest of his team. Cisco and the team try to stop an unemotional Barry, especially when they figure out that he plans to only save Iris. It prompts a fight between Team Flash and the Flash himself, but even though Frost uses Velocity X to increase her speed, he manages to defeat them and opens the portal anyway. He finds Iris in the speed lab in the Mirrorverse, and she immediately wants to get Camilla and Sing back through to the real world. They're in bad shape because they entered the Mirrorverse first. Barry coldly says that he's only saving Iris because it makes the most sense. She resists, but Barry ultimately brings her through by force. Iris collapses and starts having seizures almost immediately after being brought back to the real world. Barry, realising he didn't predict this, nor was he able to predict the emotions and reactions of his friends' breakdowns, destroys the artificial Speed Force in anger and loses his powers yet again. Now everyone on Team Flash is apparently down, and Camilla and Singh still remain trapped in the Mirrorverse and in dire condition. After being exposed as not the real Eva, she retreats to her office and appears to be having some sort of meltdown when she realises that while this world is not hers, she can make it into her own, and that the Central Police Department, an officer gets into the elevator to leave when a mirror duplicate of the officer drags her into the Mirrorverse. And that's how this episode ends. But there is one more ending that we did not see coming, and we're taken back to an episode flashback from season 1 where we see Eobard Thawne kills the real Harrison Wells of Earth 1 and gets his face, and he makes a makeshift grave. But little do we know that after Eobard Thawne has got Harrison Wells' face, we see that a body starts to take shape, and we see it's the real Harrison Wells standing on top of the gravesite, and that's how we end this episode, with a massive cliffhanger. Overall, excellent episode, really enjoyed this a lot. I thought Barry kind of being like the villain was a cool twist, and seeing the real Harrison Wells at the end is going to make for a very interesting episode 3 in my opinion. And I thought the way Eva McCulloch was exposed was very well done and very unique, because I didn't think that she was going to be exposed that way, but I thought this was an episode that was done very, very well. So I'm going to wrap this up now. What did you think of episode 2? Did you enjoy it? What's your thoughts on the real Harrison Wells appearing at the very end? Do you think there's going to be some twist to this? Do you think it's something to do with Crisis? What was your thoughts on the way Eva McCulloch was exposed? Do you think Barry did the right thing doing it that way, or do you think you could have done it a different way? And what about getting Iris back in the real world? Do you think there could be repercussions to this? And do you think they could get their other friends like Camilla and Singh back? You know what to do, guys. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, leave your thoughts and comments down below, and I will be back next time for another edition of the Flash Season 7 review series, where I'll be talking about episode 3, which I am very much looking forward to talking about. So until next time, take care everybody, and stay safe, and once again, thanks for listening.